discussing earlier, Rick and Sharon, we were talking about the fact that it was a 3 just a couple days ago, and we thought it could get upgraded to a 4, then back down to a 3 once it got to North Carolina. But currently, Irene is at a Category 2, getting downgraded potentially to Category 1 once it makes landfall. So here you go. We're getting a look at radar right now, and you'll see the outer bands right there, the outer rain bands, those squall lines already making their way into North Carolina as we speak this evening. And we are expecting conditions to worsen over the next few hours into the overnight hours into first thing tomorrow morning. There's that cone of uncertainty still. Looks like Irene is on track, but again, it has been downgraded over the last couple of days, even though it is still currently a Category 2 storm. So winds currently at about 100 miles an hour, which is the case with a Category 2 storm. It's heading to the north, about northeast at the moment at about 14 miles an hour. It's picking up speed, and essentially what happens in this situation is we're actually going over cooler waters. Irene is heading over cooler waters, and when that happens, hurricanes tend to weaken just a bit. But of course, we're not underestimating the power of the storm, and of course, once it makes landfall, could weaken a little bit as well. At this point, staying a Category 1 potentially once it hits North Carolina, and it could start to weaken again as it makes its way into New England. But again, we don't want to discount the damage it can do as it makes its way up the coast. So we're going to continue tracking Irene for you. Of course, we're tracking our own forecast right here in Southern California because it was a scorcher today, very hot today, and could potentially pick it up heat-wise as we head into tomorrow. You're going to see we're under an excessive heat watch right now for the LA County mountains and valleys, also a warning to the east over the deserts, and we're also tracking a little bit of monsoonal moisture in the forecast right now. We've seen a few showers, potential thunderstorms. That's going to be the case as we head into tomorrow, and that still could be the case as we head into Sunday. So we're going to tell you exactly how hot it got today, how hot it's going to get, how long this heat's going to last. That's all coming up in just a little bit. Back to you.
All right.
The hurricane is Category 2.
Mm-hmm.
I know. And what does that mean?
So winds are sustained at 100 miles an hour. So on the Saffir-Simpson scale, essentially it's based on wind speed. So that's how we really judge a category. So at this point, winds are blowing at 100 miles an hour. That falls in the Category 2 range. Once it gets downgraded to about 80, 90 miles an hour, could fall in the Category 1 range. And that certainly could happen once it hits the Carolinas. Usually with hurricanes, the tendency is when it heads over cooler water, it slows down, it weakens, and then it gets downgraded. So that's one thing that's happening right now. But again, we can't discount the magnitude of what's going on out there because just take a look at how large this storm really is. It's massive in diameter. We're talking hundreds of miles. That's why we've been talking about the fact that once it does hit the Carolinas, again, the outer band's already getting there, but it could take 10 hours or so before it makes its way up the eastern seaboard. And that's a big problem because when you have a storm like this and it's really just bearing down over one area for an extended period of time, that prompts major flooding. So big issues there, especially in low-lying coastal areas, and that's certainly the case in the Outer Banks of North Carolina. And even bigger concern is, well, New England. Again, not a bigger, but of course another big concern rather. And it may weaken by the time it gets there, but of course the population along the coast right there in the low-lying areas, that's a huge concern as Irene makes its way up there. It's really just staying along the projected path as we've been discussing. The one good thing, the one kind of silver lining in this is that it has weakened, but again, we can't discount what's going on out there. It was a 3, it was downgraded to a 2, and then Irene could potentially become a 1 once it officially makes landfall. At this point, it's just the outer rain bands that are making their way into the Carolinas as we speak. So you'll see wind sustained at 100 miles an hour. Again, this is typical of a Category 2 storm. Is traveling northeast, basically at about 14 miles an hour. So we're going to continue tracking Irene for you as we head into the next couple of hours. These hours, again, very dire as it's starting to get very close to land there. Here at home, we're still dealing with very warm weather. In fact, that excessive heat watch is in effect again as we head into tomorrow. It's going to kick in first thing in the morning. It's going to last through tomorrow evening. And take a look right there. Plenty of green showing up on radar. What is that? Well, we're actually dealing with a little bit of monsoonal moisture making its way into Southern California. So a few showers here and there, a few potential thunderstorms, and this chance is really going to continue over the next few days. And that's actually the reason behind all of the clouds we've been seeing. Somewhat of a cloudy day and very humid. Again, it's just that monsoonal moisture that's starting to stream in from the south. Temperatures currently sitting in the 80s. A very warm night out there. 82 in Covina, 77 right now in Fulton Wells, 92 in Riverside. Over to San Bernardino, you're at 88 in Westminster. You're currently at 70 degrees. So earlier today in downtown, we made it to 92 degrees. A little reminder, yesterday we got up to 90. So we actually warmed it up a couple of degrees today, and we could warm it up a couple of degrees as we head to tomorrow. We're going to tell you exactly how hot we're going to get. This is how hot we got today. Palmdale, you set a record. The record was 106 set back in 1999. Well, you hit 107 today. Woodland Hills 105, Burbank 107, Elsinore 110, and Riverside 108. Rick and Sharon, back to you.
All right, thanks, Evelyn.
Well, Rick and Sharon, we're going to take you out there back to radar in just a minute, taking you outside. And of course, we're going to be discussing our forecast because it was very hot out there today, still very hot out there tonight. In fact, 90 degrees right now at the Broadcast Center at Studio City. A very hot night out there. But first and foremost, at the moment, we are tracking Hurricane Irene. The outer bands of the hurricane already making their way into North Carolina, but we're still waiting for it to fully make landfall, probably first thing in the morning. Packing winds of about 100 miles an hour right now as we speak, so it's technically still a Category 2 storm. Could potentially be downgraded to a Category 1 once it makes landfall. Generally, hurricanes weaken once they make landfall and once they head over cooler waters, and we're actually eyeing both right now. So again, models really showing it downgraded to Category 1 by tomorrow and continuing up the coast of New England there, making stops at the Jersey Shore, New York, all the way up through Maine into Canada. So it's going to continue to keep going, but at some point, again, it's going to weaken, and it probably will not be hurricane status once it continues to make its way up toward New England. But regardless, it's still going to do plenty of damage, hurricane or not. Again, could be a 1 by tomorrow, and certainly at a 2 right now, packing winds of 100 miles an hour. So again, those rain bands already making their way into North Carolina. Over the next few hours, conditions are going to intensify in the Outer Banks there. So again, we're going to continue to track Hurricane Irene for you. We're tracking our hot forecast for you as well. 70s and 80s out there right now. 79 in downtown. Over to Covina, you're at 81 degrees. We're actually under an excessive heat watch for the LA County mountains, the valleys, kicking in again tomorrow morning, lasting through tomorrow in the evening hours. 90 right now in Riverside. Fullerton, you're at 75. In Orange, you're at 75 degrees. So downtown, you made it to 92 today. Pretty impressive because record temperatures are about 98 degrees. We did break one record in Palmdale earlier today. But other than that, even though it was hot out there, not a lot of record breakers, but certainly temperatures were well above average. 85's average for downtown. Again, we were about 7 degrees above that. Rick and Sharon, back to you.
All righty.
Diameter, really, it's massive. So, I mean, it has been downgraded to Category 2 from a 3 just the other day and could get downgraded to a 1, but that doesn't take away from the fact that it's just so massive, it can still do so much damage. So we're getting a look at it on radar. You'll see the outer bands making their way into North Carolina this evening, carrying on, actually making landfall first thing in the morning. Officially by tomorrow night, it's going to continue to just really track up the eastern seaboard into the mid-Atlantic there, up into New England by 8 o'clock on Sunday night, already covering, take a look at this, the coast, New York right there, New Jersey, all the way up to Boston, Maryland, eventually making its way into Canada. So we're going to continue to track Hurricane Irene for you. Again, wind sustained right now at 100 miles an hour. Other than that, here at home, well, we've caught hundreds of our own. It's called very warm numbers. Triple-digit heat earlier today. Probably going to see it again tomorrow, very likely. In fact, right here at the Broadcast Center in Studio City, we're currently at 83 degrees. By tomorrow, we're under an excessive heat watch, and you'll see an excessive heat warning to our east. Also, plenty of monsoonal moisture out there prompting showers and that chance of thunderstorms. Quick look at your 5-day forecast. You'll see in the valleys the triple-digit heat not letting up even on Monday. We're still talking triple-digit heat. A little cooler Tuesday into Wednesday, but still hot nonetheless. Back to you.